Right, as this project snowballs, I'm going to paint my console. So the console in this car isn't a correct colour. That should be black because it's a Fairmont, not silver because it's a GT. Now I can't tell if someone's got this and painted it or if this was an original GT one. Either way, I've sanded it back a little bit here and you can see some of the silver's coming off pretty easily, which is really, really handy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly scuff the glossy surface and then hit it with this stuff here, some vinyl dye. So this stuff you can use for seats, trim, carpet, plastic, that sort of thing, or this material. And I'm going to hit this with a flat black just to give it a bit of contrast. So what I'm going to do now is just mask up the chrome bit around here, give this a quick with some fine sandpaper and hit it with some of this. What do we got to lose? I didn't show you the paint I'm using. We're just using VHT vinyl dye. This is a matte finish I'm going to go for in here. And obviously the other stuff was a gloss. So let's see how the matte finish looks. Whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, come around here. I gave these parts a bit of a light sand with some 900 just to roughen them up. This is the glove box padding and the padding either side. And these things here, now I got to tell you, these are brittle like anything. So over here, I didn't film this, but this section here just split, crack, and I just nipped it up with some super glue then. And I'm hoping, even though that glue's still pronounced there a bit, with a lick of paint it shouldn't look too different. So I'm going to start on these whilst that other paint's drying. I just got to hit them with some wax and grease remover and we'll get on these as well. Right guys, as you can probably tell, I'm not a painter. I did rush a lot of this stuff and I was very impatient. So if you're a painter, tell me in the comments, what have I done wrong, what have I done right, so I could share with the audience so they don't make the same mistakes. Looks okay. Although it does look glossy. Have a look from this angle. This seems to be a little bit, I don't know, tiny bit glossier than this stuff. When there's a different shade, that's, I mean, it comes up on camera, but it is a tiny bit different. But I think that looks pretty good for what, 30 bucks worth of paint? I don't know if that's expensive. I don't buy paint every day, so I don't know. But I'm happy with it. It just looks so much more cleaner. This bit looks so much nicer than the silver that was there before. And I'm hoping now, once I get the dash painted, this is now going to not look out of place. So I'm happy with that. Thank you very much, VHT Paints and Vinyl Dyes. Thumbs up from me. Finally got the last bits of the plastic painted. That's the climate control, and that's the radio surround that was in there. I'm going to try and use it. It saves me cutting up the other one I've repaired it here. There was a crack, just with some super glue. It seems to be okay. Look, it's worth a crack. I've got it. I originally did this in a gloss black and then matched it against the dash. It was way too glossy, so I sanded it back and went to the matte finish vinyl dye, which I hope doesn't have as much sheen, but it'll definitely match better than the faded black that was there before. I've also done the ashtray and the under steering wheel column bit as well. I've done these in the gloss to match all the other glossy bits. This thing is so fragile. I'm really scared of putting it back on because if it cracks, it's just... I think it's another 110 or 150 bucks. They're just worth a fortune. Inside the car, I've done some sanding. I've got rid of all the black paint that was around these parts here, this bit over here. There was a lot of pitting in these spots, and the finish was really, really glossy. I like really glossy. It left a lot of fingerprints on it. So by getting rid of those pit marks, I'm going to finish this in a satin colour as well. Same as the glove box. The glove box is outside. I've sanded it almost all the way back. I've just got to go this bit here and get rid of that as well. Then it's a matter of masking up. Oh, and this bit here. And then I've just got to mask everything up and give this a blast of primer and paint it. Sounds simple, but, you know. Oh, and I want to do the A-pillars as well, so they'll get a touch up. And you can kind of see the detail in the paint there. How there's a bit of pitting and there's some runs in it too. So hopefully I can tidy that up and make that a bit more presentable also. Look at how easy that came away. It was almost like just one coat. You can buy these honey pots now, but they're bloody expensive. I can't remember where I left off, but here we are. We are all covered up. We are masked up, and I usually don't paint dashboards when the windscreen's in, but you got to do what you got to do. These come up really well. Getting rid of that black paint that was there was pretty straightforward, and also smoothing out some of these bits here, which will show through when a new dashboard and dash pad and all that sort of crap goes back on. That is nearly a whole Herald Sun in there, just if you want to reference how much Herald Sun goes into masking. I think that's the first time I bought a paper for about 5 years, I reckon. What I'm going to do now is I've got some etch primer. I just had a quick chat to Knackers. You can see his shed in another video with his 57 Chevy, his wife's 57 Chevy, just up there. He reckons just a bit of etch primer on these bare metal bits so they're covered, just so there's enough there for the new paint to bond. I'll also give this one last once over with some wax and grease remover just to make sure all the dust and crap is out. Anyway, let's start painting. All you painters out there can tell me all the stuff I'm doing wrong. I'm going to hit it now with the old Quick Coat Flat Black Enamel from VHT. Not sponsored, VHT. I won't need any paint after this, so don't bother sending me anything. I really only need to get this bit here, and the bits around the ignition and driving lights bang on, because they're the bits that are prominent on the dash that don't have any coverings. So it's not critical I get this bit or any of those bits bang on. I'm going to hit it first with a couple of very, very light coats, like really light, and then just go from there. Light, that's very light, good. Keep it light, keep it light. Barely cover it, mate. Right, that'll do it. Stop right there, stop right there. That's enough. Do underneath. I'll just do that with that. That's it, no more. Really light. I don't care if I have to do 10 coats, I want to get it looking schmicko. This has come up an absolute treat. I thought there was a couple of high spots here, or just bits where when I pull the trigger on the old spray tin, a couple of droplets came out, but after laying on a couple of coats, it doesn't look too bad. I'm not too fussed about it. Same with the A-pillars. I think they look pretty good too. There might be a couple of scratches that show up when you can see some light, but it is such an improvement on what was there before. This side's come up pretty good too. I thought there might be some pretty deep scratches there, but after a couple of coats, seems to have filled in pretty good. I will have to do this bit again though. This gave me the shits like you got no idea. So yeah, that was my lead light getting in the way. It could have happened here, could have happened there, but it happened right there, which is the part that shows. So I'll be rubbing that back probably later today and just giving that another once over. So this is what happened to the glove box. It turned out crap, so crap in fact. I started rubbing it back and thought, stuff it, I might as well do the whole thing properly. So what the issue was, I had some really, really deep scratches up here. Trying to get rid of those low spots, if you remember, in the corners here. So in doing so, didn't go too fine in sanding it back and just blasted over it, hoping for the best. But yeah, some of the scratches still came through. Tried to give them a light rub back, but as soon as I did that, because there wasn't a lot of coverage on the paint, it just went straight back to metal. So I thought, stuff it. Let's get a Y wheel, take it all back. That way I can etch prime the whole thing and then do a proper primer filler over the top. Cover all those scratches in and get a nice uniform finish over the whole thing. Look, I'm not a painter by any means, but at least out of this process I've learned a couple of things about how to do metal, how to prepare properly, and just don't rush. I've slowed down and took my time with this, and hopefully the paint will, or the finish will reflect the effort that's gone into it. Glove box looked pretty good with primer on it. None of the scratches that were here are there now. The primer's done a really good job at filling them in. Well, it's a filler primer, so really, really pleased with that. And I'm actually spewing now that I didn't just take my bloody time when I've worked out I needed to paint and just strip the dashboard back properly, and the A-pillars properly, and use this primer to get a nice flat smooth surface. But look, it's going to be better than what's there. It's not going to be perfect. I've made so many fuck-ups painting on this car in this improvement that I'm making to it, that all I've got to basically show for it is a lot of learnings. And if that's the case, then I'm happy. So right now I'm going to give this a little sand back. There's a couple of little bits of dust or whatnot that got stuck in the primer, which I'm hoping to just sand out. I think that used to be a leave-in insect or something like that, so that'll be my once over. I don't think I'm going to use 600. I think 600 you're supposed to use before putting a top coat. Whatever, we'll try it out. Start very light. I don't know what qualifies as medium wet, as long as it doesn't run. Well, we are back with our glove box. Hello darkness, my old friend. Now, I painted this the other day and you would have seen me outside on my little rig, and I thought it was pretty good until I saw, and I've already done this because it shitted me as soon as I saw it, there was a really gnarly line here where the string was, or the wire was holding this thing up, and it painted and it covered, but it was just so blotchy. So I thought, look, I'm not going to assemble this thing today. I just came out to check out what it looked like, and it was just shite. So I sanded that little bit back and that line back there with a bit of 800, then smoothed the whole thing out with a bit of, I think, 1000 or 1500, one of the two. Super smooth, and it got rid of a bit of that texture that was there left over by the primer as well. So it should actually come up a lot better. So I'm just going to give this a quick wipe to get rid of my fingerprint there and any other grease and dust that's on it, and hit it with another quick coat. These quick coats take fucking forever to dry too. So this was the third time I'd painted a glove box, and I still managed to stuff it up. I didn't wait long enough between coats, and I laid it on way too thick for the last one, which looked like this, and dried like this. But fourth time was a charm, and I reckon I nailed it. Have a look at this. I think inside's turned out pretty well. That bit there's turned out good. That bit there's turned out okay. I think I told you I had to fix a bit where the lead light hit it when it was fresh, so I sanded that back and sorted that out. And that bit over there turned out okay as well. I've really layered up that piece there because that's where your keys dangle, and I didn't really want to see scratches, or if it scratches, I wanted to scratch black behind the scratch rather than before it was brown. So hopefully it gives me at least a bit more protection from my jingly keys than what was there before. Done, and yeah, that's much better. That was really tacky a few days ago. Now that's hardened right up, and a few more days time you'll be able to put your fingernails on it, I hope, and not take chunks out. So what have I learnt from all this? Well, I'd say first up, just take your time. Like, know when to admit defeat. I was a bit, I don't know, stubborn, and once I started to have to consider repainting bits of the dash, I thought, I could knock this over in a day. Use the stuff that I had on my shelf and just do it. So if you can take anything away from this video, learn how to plan your job better. Be better at adjusting and managing your own expectations on when you're going to get things done. Don't just try and push to get stuff done because you've got a couple of days off. Manage yourself. I've been busted to do this because we've been in lockdown for a while, so I've been busting to get something done on the car. So as soon as things opened up, I was able to go get my bits and pieces, and I thought, beauty, I've got a long weekend, plus a couple of days off, I'll be able to knock it all over and not lose any weekends from it. But I spent the whole week piss farting around, going to various parts, stops to get bits and pieces, and every day I was out and about because I didn't have X, I didn't have Y. So just, the ability to just calm your farm a bit, take your time, enjoy the process. Don't hate the process, enjoy it. That's why you're supposed to do this stuff, because you enjoy it, apparently. But hopefully when we assemble it, it'll all be worth it. And you'll see that here in another episode, because this is turning out to be a monster. Chicka chow.